Shalom, Yasharallah. Giving all praise and glory to the Most High. As always, I'm going to start off with Colossians 3:17. And whatsoever you shall do, whatever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. So all that we say and do is going to be in the name of the anointed Savior, Mashiach Yahushua. And we give thanks to the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel for everything, because he worthy to be praised for everything. Hallelujah to his glorious and holy name. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. So, I dealt with, can I be a spiritual Chinese, Japanese, spiritual Israelite, or spiritual any nation, right? So now, the only reason why they could say you could be a spiritual Israelite is because they're saying that Israelites was cast away. That the Most High done away with the Israelites, point blank. They've been done away with. So we got to look in the Bible and see if that's true. Let's find out. So first we got to look at Deuteronomy 28th chapter. And I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through this, make this a series. Hope you'll continue to join me as I go through these scriptures and break it down. Deuteronomy 28:1, mind you, Deuteronomy 1:1 is talking to the Israelites. These be the words that Moses spake to Israel on this side of Jordan. So he's talking to the Israelites when we came out of captivity under the Egyptians. So it says, Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken, meaning listen, diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy power, your power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Most High thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So all we have to do is follow the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, and he's going to set us above all nations of the earth. Now that's what the kingdom was going to be about. That's why we come back to the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, hearing his voice, which is from a voice come words, and we're doing his commandments to the best of our ability, repenting, keeping the Most High's commandment, first and foremost, fearing the Most High, right? So verse 2 says, and all these blessings, if we do his commandments, all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power. So we heard us. He told us over and over again. We go into the Bible, he tells us what he's going to do. I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to bless you. He said if we keep his commandments, we're going to be blessed above all nations of the earth. So all nations knew that at one time or a few times we was blessed above all nations of the earth. They knew this. They knew that we had a power that they didn't have. And the whole thing is to keep us from our power. How to reach the Most High. How to allow him to have mercy and grace upon us and to bring forth what he said here. So verse 15 says, but it shall come to pass at the future, if thou would not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, yours a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership, that you got a problem where you can't read the Bible because you got thy, that means your. Come on, you can't be that. Come on now, thy means your, okay? So when you see that, you know it means your. Because a lot of y'all say, oh, no, it's too many these and thys. And thee is the, right? Or you. Listen, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken, not listen unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee, which is you, this day, right? That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. That's what he told us. And we didn't follow his law, statutes, commandments. That's why if you look at different captivities, when you read the Bible, most of the time in the Old Testament, we in captivity. We in captivity. Only a few times we wasn't in captivity, you know. I think the most is about 120 years, to my recollection, you know, but when you go to Daniel's 9 and 11, it says, yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing that they might not obey thy voice. Remember, he said, if you hearken to my voice, I'm going to bless you above all nations of the earth. He said, well, we sinned. We broke his law. Like people telling you now, you're not under the law. This is why we in captivity. This is why we can't get out. Yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing. Departing from what? The Most High's law, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, where we at in Deuteronomy 28th chapter, from verse 15 to 68, are the curses that befell we as a people, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. Now sin, you want to know what sin is? Read 1 John 3 and 4. Sin is the transgression of the Most High's law. You see? I know y'all don't like to hear law, but I got to keep saying it because you got to get into your spirit, man. You've been lied to. Going back to Deuteronomy 28. So from verse 16 all the way to 68 are the curses that befell we as a people. Now I'm going to look at verse 64. And it says, and the Most High shall scatter thee among all people. Because we broke his laws. You just heard we broke his laws. He said the Most High going to scatter us among all people. From the one end of the earth even to the other. I mean, he's going to scatter us in the four corners of the earth. We as the Israelites. And there, when you go amongst these other nations, as we scattered among these four corners of the earth, thou shalt serve other gods, other idols. Because it tells you in Psalm 96 and 5, for all the gods of the nations are idols. So when we go amongst these other nations, we're going to serve other gods. And to me, that's other religions. Or, if you could tell me, I've been asking, if you could tell me that your religion is dealing with the moral laws, the civil laws, the dietary laws, and the ceremonial laws today, and you're still a Gentile, in the mind, even though to me, you would be an Israelite, I'd like to know. That's the moral laws, the civil laws, the dietary laws, and the ceremonial laws that the Most High wrote with his finger, the work of the Most High. Because it tells you we're going to go among these other nations and serve other idols, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stones. That's these churches, these different religions and so forth, that we dealing with even to this day. Because he gave us laws, statutes, and commandments. He didn't give us no religion. Religion comes from a Latin word, religio, which means to hold back, keep down, and restrain you from what? Coming back to the truth, which is what? We can all sing it together. Psalms 119, 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. The Most High's laws is the truth. You see? So when you follow the truth, you got a chance to see everlasting life. That's what Messiah Shai said in John 14 and 6, I am the way. To show you how to follow the truth, which is the laws of the Most High, that's going to lead to everlasting life. So what is that? With no New Testament. He only had the law and the prophets. He said, no man come to the Father but by me. But see, we always find a way not to do what he say do. Even to this day. It's sad. But we're going to come out of it. A remnant, I'll say. Going to make it out of here. Jeremiah 17 and 4. And we're going to cover this in depth. We say, and thou, speaking of us, the Israelites, 12 tribes of Israel, even thyself, even yourself, shall discontinue from what? From thine heritage. From the land that the Most High gave us. That I gave thee. This vast land of Israel, beyond what you see over there now. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies. Not your friends, but you're going to cause us to serve our enemies. This is warning. In the land which thou knowest not. But ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So we don't look at how we did the Most High. He just told you. Keep my laws, I'm going to bless you. He said, Jacob have I loved. So he loved us, so who are we not to love each other? That's one of the burdens that we have. Lamentation, the first chapter. Go to Lamentation, the first chapter. Lamentation is Jeremiah crying. Lamentation means crying. Jeremiah crying out. When you look at all this, man, it's sad, man. This is sadness. It's nothing but sadness. This ain't no glory in at all. They called him the crying prophet. Here he is. Lamentations, the first chapter. Let's read verse 1. How does the city sit solitary? That was full of people. How has she become as a widow? A widow is someone that lost their husband. A woman that lost her husband. Keep this in mind because it's saying a she. How has she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations. The Most High made us great among the nations, we the Israelites. And princes among the provinces. How will she become tributary? How we become tributaries? Right now, we spend over $1 trillion a year. We got nothing to show for it. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her. Who comforts us? Nobody. That's why he said all your lovers, all the ones you love, it ain't comforting you. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. That cold? All her friends have done treacherously with us. They are become her enemies. Hear that? Your so-called friends became your enemies. But we still gonna uplift them like they are friend, even though the Most High say they became our enemies. Judah has gone into captivity. Why? Because of affliction and because of great servitude. They did us real wrong. That's why Judah's gone into captivity, because of affliction. Afflicted us beyond measure, went above and beyond the call of duty. And because of great servitude, she dwelleth among the heathen. You hear that? We dwell among the heathen. These other nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, most likely they're going to scatter us among. But we're going to serve their idols, their religions and so forth. That Moses and all the prophets and Mashiach said nobody knew about these. It says, she findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. They overtook us between the straits, put us in captivity, persecuted us. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. Because ain't no feast over there, because we not there. How we come to the solemn feast? That's why I say, what feast do your religions bring forth? According to the scriptures, as we done as the Israelites. Y'all don't use scriptures and come up with your own understanding of nonsense, you know. But it's not the feast that the Most High ordained that we should have as a people. All her gates are desolate. You hear that? All our gates desolate. Her priests sigh. They sign. Her virgins are afflicted, because there ain't no virgins no more. They raped our women. And she is in bitterness for the fact of the hardship that they put her through. Instead of being able to be given to a bridegroom of her nation, she had to deal with these heathen nations while she's in bitterness. Her adversaries, her enemies, I mean adversaries mean enemies, are the chief. They on top now. Her enemies prosper. For the Most High have afflicted her, for the multitude of her transgressions, for the multitude of our sins against the Most High. He told us he gonna do this. Over and over again. Here we are. Jeremiah in captivity, talking to us, crying out to us. The Most High have afflicted us. For the multitude of her transgressions, her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. Took our children. Even the Inquisition, when we was in Spain, they took our children and made them learn religion. This Christianity that they created when we're Israelites, dealing with the law, such commandments of the Most High. And so when they came and took them into captivity, they already was programmed for Christianity. Locked right in. So what, just like children now, they got to be programmed by a certain way or their curriculum in the schools. It's no different. It's the same thing. That's why when you look at verse 1 again, it says, Lamentation 1:1, how does the city sit solitary that was full of people? How she become as a widow? The land. She that was great among the nations and princess among the provinces, how she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she have none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. So let the land speak to you in Baruch, the 4th chapter, in verse 6. You were sold to the nations. Remember you say you're going to scatter us among all the nations? And there we're going to serve wood and stone, these religions and so forth. So the land is telling we were sold to the nations for your destruction. But you say you were sold to the nations not for your destruction, Salakia. Not for our destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies, see? For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils. When we say we're going to go into captivity and we're going to serve wood and stone, so we sacrifice unto devils and not to the Most High. So this is serious because, and for the nations that took us into captivity, especially the Edomites, the Most High has this to say to you. He said in Zechariah 1:15, he said, I am very sore displeased. Zechariah 1:15, he said, I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased. He was just a little displeased with we the Israelites, 12 tribes of Israel, and they helped forward the affliction. They went over above and beyond the call of duty. That's what he's telling you. Why that judgment is coming. That's where there's a judgment coming. That's why it says, Zechariah 11:5, it says, who possessors, Zechariah 11:5, who possessors slay them. Our possessors, we are in your possession. And they're killing us. As we can see today, and hold themselves not guilty. They hold themselves not guilty. They're killing us and they hold themselves not guilty.
Yeah, what's up, my God?
Whose possessors slay them. They're killing us and hold themselves not guilty. What's the verdict? Bam! Your hands up. Pow! Shoot them. What's the verdict? Not guilty. And they that sell them, they that have sold us, even on auction blocks in slavery, say, blessed be the Most High. Blessed be the Most High. For I am rich. How you think they got all this money? Free labor in slavery. And their own shepherds, their own preachers, pork chop eating preachers, pity them not. They just all about getting their money, getting paid. You seen that during the time that the planned pandemic happened. They was going on different shows on TV, oh, crying the blues because people couldn't come to church to get their tithes. They don't know how to do this. I can stand up and do what I do. I can sit down and do what I do. I can do whatever, however I want to do it. They ain't used to doing this. So I see someone had to sit down and start talking to the people online because they couldn't come into the church. Something different. They're crying, oh, because they're losing their money because they teach for hire. Micah 3:11. Let's go back to the land talking to us. It says, verse 7 of Baruch, the 4th chapter in the Apocrypha. It says, for ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to the Most High, right? Until this day, man, I mean, look at 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. Sacrifice the devils. It says, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, these other nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, they sacrifice to devils. You see? And the Most High said, when we come on these other nations, he said, learn not the way of the heathen. The Gentiles sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. I'm telling you. But what do we do? Baruch 4 and 7, for ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to the Most High. You see? We'll take these evil, sinister, wicked people, and it don't matter what nation they are, even in ours. Because 2/3 of our people ain't about nothing anyway. And do exactly what they do and think you on point. Hear what he said? But I say that the thing which the Gentiles sacrifice or worship, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils. So you got to know who you congregating with. And going out there to accept what it is that they putting down. And open up this Bible a little bit and bring it forth to your understanding and allowing that to feed into your spirit. I got people that's all everywhere. They listen to this, looking at this, looking over here, looking over there, looking at everything. And not found and not have the foundation of the scriptures to be able to look at anything. You ask them to hold the Bible. Okay, well, give me an hour of teaching. Precept after precept after precept, subject matter, this subject matter, that's this a book of life. This is a way of life, the real way of life. And you can't do it, something wrong with that. But you over here looking over here, looking over there. That's confusion. Most are not the author of confusion. It's all we need is this. And what's in here is predominantly dealing with a way to salvation. But they still tamper with it. And I know they don't want you to know, but I'm going to tell you. They have tampered with it. He said, you cannot drink the cup of the Most High in a cup of devils. What's the devil's job? To deceive the whole world. But see, a lot of y'all so big-headed and so high-minded that you don't realize that you are deceived too. I've been deceived. Still deceived, probably on some things. I pray that the Most High will open up my mind to see the secrets that have been hidden in the Most High. And he can say, look, they did this. And reveal it to the people. Certain things like y'all calling on, L-O-R-D, they put it all in here. So every time you look around, you saying B-A-A-L. And I showed you that. Let me show it to you again. Because you know how Israel is. Most I say he speak once, yea, twice, man perceive it not. The first word of that's in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary under the letter B, it says what? You see that? Now that you see it, now you know. It says B-A-A-L L-O-R-D. That's what it means. L-O-R-D. So if they saying in the name of the Lord. It's still in the name of Baal. Same thing. Like your name, you have a name we call a slave name, and you got a Israelite name. So that's still you, right? Still you. Still got to be identified by both names, right? Just in case you didn't understand that. But see, it tell you, you cannot drink the cup of the Most High and the cup of devils. But you see what they got there? You cannot drink the cup of Baal, but they got Lord. And y'all come up with a reason to say you can still do it. When they telling you, this is something that for the elite. We're not supposed to got our hands on these Bible dictionaries, you know. Let's see, I got another one here. I'm gonna use my books up, or they just falling apart on me. Oh, dang, I went right there. Look. No, this is a New Unger's Bible Dictionary. You know, you got to keep on putting it on, you know, our people's face so they can see. See what it says here? I'm looking at it, say Baal. This is a New Unger's Bible Dictionary. It says Lord. Look, you want to see it for yourself. So you know that I'm not making it up. You see it? There it is. There it is. I mean, I'll show you 2 dictionaries. So, it's up to us to change. And see, that's why when you look at who's that? Go to Romans 11th chapter, and let's start at verse 1, because we're talking about was the Israelites cast away. This is what Paul says. A lot of y'all believe in Paul's writing. This is what he said. Romans 11:1. He said, I say then, hath the Most High cast away his people? That's the 12 tribes of Israel. Most High forbid. For I also am an Israelite. Paul said he's an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High has not cast away his people, which he foreknew. That's of the Old Testament. So he's saying, hey, I'm an Israelite. He's living like we're living right now. And all the prophecies and all the scriptures point to us as being the Israelites. Most High has not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Wot ye not what the scripture says of Elijah? How he maketh intercession to the Most High against Israel, saying, Elijah prophesied against us. What'd he say? Most High. You see, they got Lord. They got it right there. And y'all keep saying it. Listen to what he's saying, though.
Has joined.
They have killed thy prophets. They have killed thy prophets. And dig down thy altars. Elijah, you know, praying to the Most High against us. Dig down thy altars, and I am left alone. He felt like he was left alone. And they seek my life. Who? Israelites killed the prophets. Elijah saying they seeking my life. They want to kill me, in other words. But what said the answer? Listen what he say. Or the Most High unto him. Because you got a lot of people that don't like us as Israelites. They got a problem with us as Israelites. But look what the answer to the Most High came to Elijah saying. I have reserved to myself. Just people that's reserved to the Most High. 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal or Lord. that y'all keep calling on. You can't deny it, I just showed you. Do your research. So everybody else then bow the knee to B-A-A-L. What I just showed you what it means. L-O-R-D. Now, this is why we went into captivity. Why I'm dealing with this. Most I have not cast away his people cheap for new. When you understand what has happened, when you look at Revelation 12 and 9, and the great dragon was red, was cast out, that old serpent which was red, called the devil, which is red as Satan, and Esau the Edomites red, and beast red, which deceiveth the whole world. Which deceiveth the whole world. From the past tense, from now until the end of the world. But the Most High set righteousness up on the earth. That's his job. How did they do it? Satan showed him, I said, all the kingdoms say all could be thine. He do what? Bow down and worship me. That's what they've done. How they got everybody fooled. I mean, it's like certain things, it's like, how come they can't see this? You can hear it. Even though you heard it, you ain't telling nobody, you ain't moving on it to be able to make sure our people come out of this dark, gross darkness, I might say. Ignorance. You know that we haven't been cast away, but how they got us? How they got the people in gross darkness? Because they use certain things. Look at what they use. Revelations 18 and 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. In America. Over here when the Most High destroyed this place, and the voice of the bridegroom, husbands, and of the bride, wives, shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. All those ships that's coming here. Matter of fact, when they stopped the trucks for one, they say that 200,000 or something like that. Ships out there in the port, waiting to be unloaded. I mean, all I see is trucks all day long. Lined up, going down the freeway, trying to catch up to all the products that you're probably missing on the East Coast coming to the ports of Long Beach. So all you see is ship after ship after ship. When the longshoremen had a strike, man, all you see was, as far as you can drive, was ship after ship after ship. Merchants bringing their merchandise right here, or getting merchandise from America. But our merchants were the great men of the earth, hear that? Right here in America. But listen how they got everybody deceived. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. See that? By their witchcraft. So here we are. Most I said we're going to be scattered among these nations and serve other gods. Even wood and stone. Even idols of wood and stone. These religions and so forth. The sorceries, the witchcraft that's upon all the nations to be the seed. And you are the seed. That's why here we are caught up in their matrix that they have created and not realizing what's going on. Even you got to think, man, is this right, this wrong? I've been deceived? Have I been lied to? That's why the Most High said go to Isaiah 47 chapter, go right along with Revelation 18th chapter. Listen to what he said. Verse 12, he says, stand now. Isaiah 47 and 12. Let me say, he fooled all the nations by witchcraft, sorcery. This is what it says. Stand now with thine enchantments and with thine multitude of thy sorceries. Multitude of your sorceries. That's witchcraft. That's why you can't see things. That's why you looking at this, reading this over and over again. And, well, I never seen that before. But you done read it. People tell me, I done read the Bible. I done read the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. And you ain't see this, you ain't see that. And I didn't see it. I ain't see certain things. I probably still don't see certain things. That's what Most High to give me guidance to see the mysteries that's been hidden in him from the beginning of the world. While looking at our people, you explain it to them. Oh, I heard that already, but you ain't doing nothing about it. You still calling on these names. Let it come out of your mouth. You got people saying, oh, it don't mean that, you're supposed to be calling on the name of these other gods. When he told you that in the law, Exodus 23 and 13, this is real why we went into captivity, why we got scattered among all these nations. That's what Moses said. He got a complete number of men, 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to who? You just read it. B-A-A-L. The same thing they put in here to have you always calling on B-A-A-L by calling on L-O-R-D. And you're going to continue to do it. Or some of you going to realize it and come out of that, man. Listen what he says. Witchcraft. Listen. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, the multitude of thy witchcrafts, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, always been in them. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if it's going to help you and during the time the Most High visit you, this earth. If so be thou mayest prevail over the power of the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, behold, the word of the Most High. They shall be as stubble. They're going to be like tumbleweeds. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants, like we just read in Revelation the 19th chapter, from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. They're going to say, hey, we ain't want nothing to do with them. None shall save thee. Hear that? None shall save them when the Most High bring upon them. That's why he said in verse 11, he said, hey. Now verse 10, he said, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me, don't nobody see me. That's that you don't see me spirit. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Think they ain't said it? Here it is right here. Think they ain't said it? Think y'all ain't said it, so-called white people? That y'all ain't never changed? And Israelites and all other nations, they said, look, I am, and none else beside me. What is this? The Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. They said, I am, and none else beside me. Nobody else said that. Who else did that? If thou was going to say, who else did that? What other nations did that? Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it rises. That's going to be like, he say, coming like a thief in the night. He say, evil going to come upon them. They ain't going to know where it's coming from. And mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt have not known. But thou shalt not know. You ain't going to know when it's coming. It's coming though. That's prophecy. Just like he said what? Verse 6, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance because we broke the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. Like he said, he's going to cast us away and bring us among all these other nations and give them into thine hand. He said, I gave them to you. So I gave them to you. Esau, I gave them to you. Last time that we got to go into captivity, he gave us to the Edomites. Thou didst show them no mercy. Hear that? That's why who possession slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Right? Thou didst show them no mercy. Mercy is not getting something to deserve. I mean, we fill the prisons. They fill with us, Israelites. Upon the ancient, the old people have thou very heavily laid thy yoke. So, that's judgment. That's judgment that's coming. But here we are scattered among them, all joined with them. That's why we gonna pay, man. Go to Psalm 60th chapter. We ain't been done away with because we gotta be here. The Most High say we got next. Saints shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. We got next, so we can't do that if we not here. Psalm 60th chapter and verse 1. It says, O Most High, thou hast cast us off. Cast us off. Thou hast scattered us. Thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. Verse 10. Will not thou, O Most High, which hast cast us off, and thou, O Most High, which did not go out with our armies, give us help from trouble. See, Most High, they say, hey, I'm not going out to fight with you because you broke my commandments. Without not, O Most High, which have cast us off, and thou, O Most High, wilt thou not go out with our armies? Give us help from trouble. For vain is the help of man. Ain't no man gonna save us. That's what Deuteronomy 28 and 29 is telling us. Ain't no man gonna save you. Y'all trust in man. Better be trusted in the Most High. Through the Most High, we shall do valiantly. For he it is that shall tread down our enemies. I'm gonna read to you again, because y'all here. Through the Most High, not through no man or nobody rising up to be able to do anything against our enemies. He said through the Most High. You hear that? We shall do valiantly for the things that's written in the scriptures that's going to happen, for the prophecies that are going to happen with us to be able to do the things that we're going to do through the Most High. We shall do valiantly. For he it is that shall tread down our enemies. Better hear what it says. I can hear clearly. Can you hear clearly? I can hear clearly now. The enemy is gone. I can hear clearly now. They are no more. Go to future. Go back to Baruch. I digress. Baruch, the 4th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 8. This is what we did. Most like said we sacrificed the devils, right? He said, hey, ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when she saw, that's the land, for when she saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, hearken. The land told us to listen. O ye that dwell about Zion, the Most High have brought upon me, the land, great mourning. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them, because we broke the laws of the Most High. He said you're going to be cursed if you break my laws, statute commandments. He said, with joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning. Go to Leviticus 26 chapter. Leviticus 26 chapter. I love the scriptures, man. I love it. It just speaks volumes of truth in our ears. When you really enjoy the word of the Most High and Him speaking to us and speaking to the world. Leviticus 26, and we're going to look at verse 42. Then when I remember my covenant with Jacob, he said, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. You know, sometimes, most of the time, we always say most of the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now it's going backwards from Jacob, Isaac to Abraham. Then when I remember, but let's go up a little bit so you understand why he's saying this. Verse 40, it says, if they shall confess, that's us, we the Israelites, shall confess their iniquity, we have sinned and been wicked, and the iniquity of their fathers, our forefathers, and their trespass, which they trespass against me, breaking the Most High's law, statute, commandments, and that also they have walked contrary unto me. Like all you just say, we under the law. And not keeping the Most High's commandments. Doing whatever you want to do, saying, I don't want to. I don't want to, I don't have to. Yeah, you're going to find that you're going to have to. Or you're going to be put to death. You're going to burn in the lake of fire. And you got people that's teaching that, and then they're going to be having the people that's going to be least in the kingdom of heaven, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And now they're teaching people what they should be doing. If they shall confess their iniquity, hear what he's saying? If we shall confess our iniquity, our wickedness, our sins, and the iniquity of their fathers, with which they trespass which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, That's the Most High. That me is the Most High, y'all. And that I also have walked contrary to them by giving us to these heathens. See, I'm going to walk contrary to you. And have brought them into the land of their enemies to this day. If then their uncircumcised hearts, uncircumcised minds, be humble. It's very, very important. Because humility is opposite of what? Pride. But he said, if our uncircumcised minds be humble, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, we accept that the Most High said He's going to put us in captivity, slavery, and bondage under a no people and a foolish nation, unto the worst of the heathen, unto the most wicked in all the world, unto an unjust king. All this is written in the scriptures. Ezekiel 7:24. Song of the Three Holy Children, verse 9. He said, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob. If we do what? If then their uncircumcised hearts, which is your minds, be humbled. Humbled. Which is opposite of being prideful. And they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity. We accept of the punishment of our wickedness, our evil, our sins that we have done against the Most High. Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember? And I will remember the land. Remember the land is crying out. He's going to remember the land. Because the land is telling us. Baruch 4:9. But when she, which is the land of Israel, saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, hearken, listen, O ye that dwell about Zion, O 12 tribes of Israel. The Most High have brought upon me great mourning, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. With joy did I nourish them. The land said, hey, it's the fertile crescent. I gave you, Most High gave you the best land in all the world. So I gave you the best. I gave you the land that I love. And here you're going to do me like this. Are you serious? Don't you know? You better understand. Look, that's what the Most High loves. 2 Ezra 5th chapter. Let's start at verse 23. These are things that the Most High loved. And said, O Most High, that beareth root, of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine. Right? Grapevine. And of all lands of the world, excuse me, and of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit. It's the land of Israel. And of all the flowers thereof one lily. He loved the lily. And of all the depths of the sea thou hast filled thee one river, the Jordan River. And of all builded cities thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself. These are things the Most High love. And of all the fowls that are created thou hast named thee one dove. He loved the dove. And of all the cattle that are made thou hast provided thee one sheep. He liked the sheep. That's something. And among all the multitude of peoples thou hast gotten thee one people. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. And unto this people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, who we are, whom thou lovest, because he said, Romans 9:13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved. And unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law. You see that? That is approved of all. You see? So, that's what the Most High say he loved. Going back to Baruch, the 4th chapter. Verse 12. It says, what it say? Let no man rejoice over me, a widow, right? So we holding Leviticus 23rd chapter said, let no man rejoice over me, a widow, right? Go back to Lamentations, first chapter. See what it's saying? Lamentations 1:1. How does the city sit solitary that was full of people? How would she become as a widow? See the same thing that we see here in the Apocrypha? In verse 12 of Baruch, the 4th chapter, let no man rejoice over me, a widow. How does the city sit solitary? That was full of people. The land of Israel was full of people. How would she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces. How would she become tributary, paying taxes to other nations? When he told you that we do what he say do, he gonna place us above our nations. We were above our nations. Don't get it twisted. We ain't always been like we are now in captivity. Baruch, the 4th chapter, verse 12. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow, and forsaken of many, for the sins of my children, the 12 tribes of Israel, am left desolate, because they departed from the law of the Most High. The same thing that you pork chop eating preachers are saying that we not under. This is why we went into captivity, slavery, and bondage over and over again. Why the Most High came back and said, I have 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to B-A-A-L or to your L-O-R-D, which is the same meaning. Whether you call on B-A-A-L, you know better than say that. So now they put it in the Bible to have you calling on B-A-A-L without even knowing it. When you calling on L-O-R-D. Better recognize, y'all. Going back to Leviticus 26th chapter.